And this is back before everybody started hating James Gunn.
Yeah, yeah. That's true.
I can't decide. Like today, are we hating James Gunn? Is that?
He just needs to get off Twitter. Get off, James. Get off Twitter.
Why the fuck is he on
got
Twitter?
you in trouble before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is he on Twitter?
He's having all his tweets deleted after a certain amount of time. Smart move. Good move. Great move. Just interact positively. Like, just ignore.
Yeah.
We all of us get like horrible things said to us every day. I don't react to it. I don't care. I don't take it personally.
Exactly.
Like he could do the same thing. He's running DC. You got a good life, brother.
I know. You can always tell. You can always tell when James is writing, though, because when you want to procrastinate, I do the same thing. You jump onto Twitter when you're like, I don't want to be working on this script. So you get on there and you start getting in a fight on Twitter to procrastinate or do something. So he must be writing right now.
I'm so guilty. Like I don't interact, but I'm guilty of that. Like when I get stuck on a video,
that's when I do it.
Let's watch some videos for now.
Let me look over here. Yeah. I do. I go down the rabbit hole. I admit it when I'm procrastinating on a script or something.
Oh yeah.
So how are you, Undoomed? I don't know you at all. How do you know Paulie?
I don't know. I mean, how do we know each other? We just hooked up on a stream.
I can't remember, but obviously I can't remember shit.
Have you had some of my cookies, Paulie? Is that what's going on?
Bro, I'm like over.
Paulie had his share of cookies. We'll just
yes,
mind wipe for Christmas.
Because my special cookies will do that to you.
Yeah. Well, you think I'd regain some of this stuff after 7 years of sobriety? It was just like, what's going on?
I just love that you two have no idea how you know each other.
No, I do. Hilarious. I do. It's. But I think one of my highlights of this year. There's a couple of them, and you gentlemen are part of it. Part of my highlights. One of them is that me and Undoomed and Loki, we got to do a live stream interview with Edward James Olmos.
Right.
Undoomed, you had some amazing questions, bro, for him.
Yeah, that was a really great experience. I mean, he's one of my heroes. And, amazing.
Yeah.
Did you get to ask him about Blade Runner? Did you ask him about Blade Runner?
Yeah. I mean, we had each of us had a couple of questions that we sort of agreed. We would have like 2 each or something because he had limited time, obviously. But I asked him about how he came up with the gutter talk language.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good question.
Did he speak?
Good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he had
there
like
he is.
There he is.
We go.
Bro.
Man.
Adama.
Nice.
Yeah.
He seems like a really nice guy. I went to a Hollwyood party one time, and I would say everybody was 20 years younger than me. And I look over, and Edward is standing there, and no one is talking to him. No one knows who he is. So I walk over to him, and we just started having this conversation. And he's like, "Look at these kids, they have no idea who we are. We're just sitting there, and we're talking about Ron Moore, because I had gone to a screening one time, and I knew Ron." And he was talking about Battlestar Galactica, and like literally no one knew who he was. But the minute you see one of his films, everybody in the room would be like, "Oh, that guy!" It's just you don't expect to just see him standing there and no one talking to him.
Does he think Deckard was a replicant or not?
I think he's in the camp where he is not a replicant. I think that's what little bit I talked about.
That's the right camp.
Yeah. I think he's in that camp.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. I like that. I like that I'm in the camp where I still don't know.
That's where it's supposed to be.
I like that.
That's what you're supposed to be in that camp. Yeah.
Right. That's the whole point.
But what did Eddie say about that? That like, or was it about Battlestar Galactica Undoomed? In regards to man, he was pretty prolific.
Oh, right. He said that he considers Battlestar Galactica a sequel to Blade Runner.
I
could see that.
That was
you definitely see it. They're very, very similar. Well, exact same themes.
Yeah. Yep. It's a pretty good observation.
Drawn to that material. Yeah. Now that you mentioned it, you're right. It explores similar themes of what is being human. And being hunted.
Right. Yeah, you could sort of see that would be in the far future when, everything is we've colonized other worlds, and then maybe we nuked each other, had to go back to zero again, and almost at the same level as we are now.
Mhm.
So it kind of makes sense.
Yep.
It does. It does.
What happened?
He's a fascinating guy.
I was
Yeah.
not surprised, but you know, it's fucking Hollywood that Eddie almost, when he goes to pitch projects, he still has to explain shit. And you know, it's like, don't you guys know who he is? Can't you guys do a little bit of homework before you have a meeting? Fuck Hollywood,
Right.
man.
Yeah.
I just. So, anyways, he's doing an independent film, which I'm excited about. He's going to be directing the Joaquin Murrieta story, and Murrieta was the Zorro Batman,
Prototype.
prototype. Yeah.
Yep.
From
Oh,
California.
that's fascinating. Is he shooting that next year?
That's what he said. He broke it
That's
when we were
great.
talking to him. I was like, wait, what? What
That
did
sounds
you
good.
say?
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
So yeah, and I think one of the writers even like sent me a message afterwards, like, we're doing it and thank you so much. I'm like, oh, cool, man. You know, like,
That's great.
you know, we need more of that. When I say we, you know, us Latinos, I think that shit's better than the Namor and it's just getting worse. It's getting worse.
Yeah. It's
And
getting worse.
I talked to Gary about that, is that the more we can have those original stories, it's like the less garbage you're going to get of that, you know? So
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah. There's a ton of rich stories that haven't been touched. I mean, look at a library. There's all those books, all those stories to be told, all these legends and myths that haven't been touched. We keep recycling. It's like a snake eating its own tail. It's like, the problem is when I pitch something original, they're like, that's great. Listen, we've got this thing in our library. Can you do that again? You know, and that's the problem. There's going to come a time where you can't reboot the reboot of the reboot of the reboot. You're going to have to dip into that well and find new things. So I think that's great. If you can get a film made and get it in the consciousness, it might spark something.
Yep.
Right.
One of these days, I mean, we're like kind of overdue for an independent resurgence as far as film in some way. I just don't, I feel like it's late. Like it should have
I agree, Gary. I agree.
Yeah.
I'm pitching something right now. It's a fairly ambitious film. It's a sci-fi film that I would shoot in Australia, and Vernon Wells and Tony Bonner and everything. And Paulie, you know a little bit about it. It's Island in the Stars. And it's a callback to like Treasure Island and 20,000 Leagues and all that, but it's an original piece. And it is so hard to get past that. What's it like? Or why are you doing an original thing? And I'm like, because we can't keep making the same thing. But the barrier to entry for something original is very hard. One time I said, I had an executive, real quick story, say, I'm ready. I want something complex. I want something interesting. So I'm like, great, I'll come in with that. I've been working on it for 3 years. So I come in, I've got all the artwork. I've got all the stuff. I've literally got the composer, all this stuff. And I'm like, this is what I want to do. And she goes, hang on. Feed me like I'm 4. And I'm like you're 4 years old, then you want complex? So I start doing it. She's like, no, I don't know what that is. That movie was made before I was born. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like,
yikes.
So it's not that there aren't original ideas. It's that the barrier to entry on those ideas is
I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
No, that's why we to add for my video yesterday. I mean, it's Lord of the Rings, so it's not original, but we didn't get the guy from Dune writing it because his pitch wasn't good. His pitch was too long, so that like it kind of turned him off. And it's like, are you kidding me? Like the guy's pitch was too long because he was reciting the Second Age from memory, and you didn't like that.
And you didn't like it? Yeah.
It's so brutal.
It's the tastemakers. It is the tastemakers. And we just have to keep hammering it. You know, those of us that comment on it, those of us that make it, all of us are important to that conversation to where is the cycle? Where's the next Renaissance? Where's the next 1970s?
Yeah, but it's also not just about the story, right? Because now you have to have the right cast, right? You have to have the right mixture of Black people, of gay people, of Asian people, right? Like, so
you have to tick off every box.
Right.
You know, that resurgence, like Gary said, should have happened a while ago. Because I think the last one we had was what, the 90s?
90s.
Yeah. Where you had all those indie films.
And when something is fairly interesting, like an interesting take on something that is already beloved. They totally fuck it up.
Yeah.
They, when I say they, I'm gonna mean like the old white liberal, regime in Hollywood that like, let's do something with the dreamers.
Right.
We won't have we won't have Nick Cage. No. We want a female. She's gonna be Latina and she's gonna be a dreamer. Oh my God! And I will write it.
Right.
And that's.
Oh, you mean like Terminator Dark Fate, right?
No,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm watching National Treasure right now. I'm reviewing every episode, and I'm just like gobsmacked.
Wow.
The
Well,
first
now
two
they're going to
episodes-
reboot Terminator again. Like that,
Yeah, I heard
the
that.
fucking corpse is dead.
Meanwhile, yeah, they ignore my pitches. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's absurd because if you flip it, say I came to a project and it was an all black cast and it was really great. It's as stupid as saying, "Hey, how come there are no Asian people in this? Otherwise, I'd really like it." It's like, what are you talking about? Just leave it alone.
Yep.
You know, let an Asian dude do an all Asian thing. Don't make him put somebody in it he doesn't want to be in it. You know,
But here's
it doesn't make
here's
any
the thing
sense.
too, is that those Asians, Latino, Black creators, directors, all that, they don't want to just be that shit.
Yeah,
They want
they want to
to
make what they want to make.
but they
Yeah.
want to do it all.
And that has been the case for, I think, since film began, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. You know,
I
like
agree with
it's Black folks don't want to just watch Tyler Perry movies. You know what I mean? Like we
Right.
want to do some sci-fi. We want to
Right.
do some adventure. We want to do
Mm.
some romance. We don't want to do, bullshit
One thing.
hood comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I agree with you. The fact that here we are, different races, whatever, we all are human and experiencing it. It is so condescending to say there's one thing you can enjoy. It's dumb. You know, it's like me seeing a sci-fi and it's like, well, who's in it so I can enjoy it? Or how old was this composer when he wrote this? Wait, Mozart was how old? I don't listen to anybody who's over 20, and it's a stupid, narrow way of looking at it. And of course the Black community likes everything they want to do. I look forward to the day where I watch a movie and I go, the guy that made that was Black? I didn't know that. Who cares?
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what's like. We just want to be blown away, right? Like,
You don't lead with that. You just don't lead with it. It doesn't. Who cares?
There's two things that for myself this year that in this year in review that really rocked me was one, our panel. That was like such a treat to be on it last minute, and it was so last minute. I was sitting in the audience. You're like, get your ass up here.
yeah.
But obviously, you guys have experienced that before, Gary. But there was a great crowd, and people's excitement after the fact, asking questions. That was fantastic, man. That was a good feeling.
I think having like a reasonable open conversation is like what I have desired for a long time, and I know you have, and everybody here has a reasonable open conversation. You don't have to agree with everything I say. I don't have to agree with everything you say, but we can like at some point come together and just say, not everybody on the right's a Nazi. They're half your customers. They're human beings. They might think a little different than you, but that's what, they're not going away. They're going to be here. So we got to like learn to figure this out. And the corporations shielding themselves behind this ESG thing, which is just a shield. That's all it is. It's a shield for their brand of like weird capitalism. And I love capitalism. I don't like what's going on there. I especially don't like them hiding behind this shield. And then in turn, and just the companies protecting themselves are trying to be risk averse. They have no care that they're dividing and destroying our country, like fundamentally. And it's like, it's not just them. We stick to Hollywood here. We stick to pop culture, but this is happening everywhere else. It's bigger than that. It's always been bigger than that. And the fact that like we just said, screw it. And hail Chris Gore, all kinds of juice to be able to kind of panel like that, to have that open conversation in the belly of the beast in LA was huge, absolutely huge. And it was tons of fun, and meeting everybody was great. And hopefully we get to do that more,
I agree.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, people were even like, on Twitter, like, how did they let this happen? Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
How do they let this happen? Yeah.
And it wasn't a lot because the majority was just like, this is amazing. The other moment for me, guys, was the Mexican Iron Man Rant. I don't know if you guys got to see or hear Mike after he
I did.
got out of.
That was beautiful.
Gary,
I didn't hear that. What did he say?
I did.
Well, we went to go see Wakanda Forever separately, and then we got on and did a out of the theater review. And I'm trying to, like, I'm always cautious with my words.
You're looking for the good.
No,
Yeah.
I wasn't even that. I was so upset at that movie. It even upset. I was trying to be civil but Mike comes on, and he rips the foundation of of Hollywood woke, and it was just it was seismic because Andre from Midnight's Edge asked if they could put it on. I'm like, yeah, of course. And then we got a nice reaction and uptick in views and subs, and they're just like, thank you for being honest. I know Gary gets that all the time as far as just thank you for being honest, but I hadn't experienced that, man. And it's not like I was walking a tightrope either. I have my opinions. I just that was just something I had never experienced. And all
Yeah,
Iron
just
Man.
to kind of piggyback off of that, I remember I had did one of my shows on swapping, basically race swapping. And the thing I think what pisses me off the most about what's going on with Hollywood right now is the fact that it's purposely dividing its audience, and I don't understand why. Like, I don't understand why, right? And as far as the swapping goes, I never understood the purpose of changing a character's race or gender or whatever, because what you're doing is, when you're doing that, you are fundamentally changing that character.
Sure.
If you change their race, if the actor is not playing that character the way it was originally intended to be be, then we are basically changing who that character is, right? By making Namor, by making him whatever he was, Aztec, you are fundamentally changing who that character is.
He wasn't
and that's
even
not
that.
the character who
he was made up. He was a
appreciated
fucking
from the
Talocon.
comic.
Talocon
He wasn't even that. That's
with
what
the
pisses me
Spanish
off even more.
accent, but like he wasn't raised. I was so confused by that whole thing. And it was just a rights issues thing, by the way. That's all it was.
But yet, they're saying we're assholes because you're taking something that we love. You're taking a character that we love, and you're fundamentally changing him and telling us that we just have to accept it and eat shit, right? And just take it.
That's a good point.
And I just don't understand the logic. I don't understand the strategy in doing this to your audience. But
no, you're right. There's a divisiveness.
That's Hollywood now.
You're right. The divisiveness of going, well, it's good for you. We know best. It's good for you. We're gonna do this. You're right. It ends up dividing, whereas the best entertainment unites us, and you don't think about that. Which they're still scratching their head about Maverick, Top Gun. It's like, why does everybody like this movie? I'm sitting there going, yes, and that of course it works. Well, it just told the story. Now anybody, any race could make another movie like that, and people would go see it. But that's the big formula.
Oh, and by the way, Maverick had a diverse cast.
Yes,
it sure did.
And that wasn't the focus of the movie.
It was not the focus of the movie. In fact, you could do another movie with anybody in that cast could then be the next big pilot, and everybody would go see it. And nobody's like, well, I hope it's the black guy. Well, I hope it's the woman. It's like they liked everybody.
Yeah,
well,
and I'm sitting there. Yeah.
Sorry, I was gonna say actually it was the best of the best.
Yeah,
because that's what Maverick wanted. You had to earn to be on this team that's gonna go do that trench run.
Right.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, they don't like meritocracy.
Nope. You're right.
Yeah.
Sure.
1000% correct.
Corporations today pretend to like social justice to sell products to people who pretend to hate capitalism.
That's a T-shirt right there. Yeah.
Well, the most we'll also socialist, however you want to call it. They're the biggest capitalists. They sell their products every day.
Right.
Support
Oh
my
yeah.
brand. I mean, I just don't get it. Do they understand their own hypocrisy, like
They
what
don't.
they're doing?
They do not. Trust me.
No.
You're talking to somebody who is, I consider myself, well, now I'm politically homeless, but at one time I was a big lib, and I drank the Kool-Aid, I bought into the bullshit, and luckily, I woke myself up. But
Mhm.
no, they have no comprehension of what they're really doing.
Yeah. Well, they think they're right, and they think what they're doing is good for you, and it's hard to unconvince somebody who thinks that what they're doing is good for you. But your point is well taken. The people that were the best in that movie were there because they were the best of the best. They didn't need to underline who they were, what they looked like. Of course, somebody that looks like that could be the best of the best. That's not even an issue.
Right.
That's not an issue in the story. Yeah.
Nobody questioned it.
So, I'm so glad we went off on this tangent. I feel that's partly me to blame, because I was telling you these are some of the highlights, and you gentlemen were part of that.